Aloha, everyone. This is Nicki Keohohou with the DSWA, and I'm so glad that you joined us today to learn more about leadership and what we're up to with leadership. We sent out our little promo on this that was saying that there were going to be 6 different ways to do this and to grow as a leader. So I'm so glad that you joined in today and that you're ready to be a part of this. So let's start with getting going here and seeing what's going to happen. So always feel free to type in or write in because we want to hear from all of you. If you have questions or comments or thoughts, now's a good time to do it. Again, I'm Nicki Keohohou, CEO and co-founder of the DSWA, and so happy to have you join us here to learn about these 6 pillars of leadership. So we're going to spend a little bit of time today. We're investing our time on creating community, team building, a little on training, a little on visionary planning, and a little on coaching, and a little bit on business management. And I just realized I think I have the wrong slides up, but that's okay. We're going to go right on through. So thanks again for being with us. Let's start with creating community. What does community mean to you? Can anybody think about what that would mean to you, the word community, and what would being a part of a great community be like? Go back in your past and think about all the things that you did when you were a child or in college or other times when you were part of an amazing community. What was it like in that community? What did the people have in common? Type it into the box there as these things come up. This is an interactive event, so we want to make sure that you're interacting. So you get to type in there. So was that community a community of people, like-minded people? Fun? Thank you, Monica. Safe? Inclusive? You felt that people kind of had your back? That you had a common vision? Well, there's science behind this. Most everybody wants to be part of a great community. And what's sad is we have children today that are stepping into drugs and other things or into gangs because they want to belong somewhere. Most people want to belong. The direct selling community is a great place to be a part of. Now, how can you make this happen in your own organizations, in your own group that you're a part of? So that sense of belonging, thank you, Michelle, is really important because what it's going to do is that people want to come back. They want to be involved. They want to be a part of this. So take the time to make that community by having positive communication with people, by having an ability to get them to the meetings where they feel special and important and valued when they get there. That's all part of creating a community. In our elite course, every one of these is a separate module. So I just wanted you to be aware what these modules are about. And I'm just sitting here thinking, I feel bad. I kind of screwed up on the slides, but we're going to go ahead anyway. So another module that we're going to put a lot of time into is team building, because you see, team building is more than recruitment. Team building is the art of building the team where people stay, where they come in and choose to be here long term. Thank you. She says that's allowed. Everybody makes mistakes. We can let that go. Release. We need to release it now because this was not after all the work we put into making great new slides for you. That's all right. We're just charging on. So team building is an art. It's the art of retaining the people. The retention is part of building a team. We don't have one come in and one go out. We don't have a revolving door. We have an ability for people to say, hey, listen, I want to be a part of this. And they choose to stay. And part of the reason why it works and why we teach the ability to coach when you're recruiting people right from the very beginning, if you're coaching them on the spot, you're going to have a much greater retention and engagement of others. So team building is a key factor in building. And there are a lot of reasons that people don't sponsor or build a team. Who could type in there? What do you think that's about? What would make somebody not build a team? What would be holding them back? all based on fear. Everything is based on fear. Thank you for your comments. So fear of success, fear of failure, fear of I don't know what to do with them once I get them, fear of responsibility, fear of I don't know enough, success, failure, loss, many, many reasons that people walk away from this business and never get started. So when you have the opportunity to share this business with others, share it. Give them a choice. And by the way, all of those fears are all coachable moments. Let's take a moment here and look at the next module, which is on training. So again, each one of these modules we do every month. There's a book that comes with it. There are all kinds of pieces of information that are included with it. So you get forms, you get the training itself, you have a monthly group coaching call where you can be coached. So there's a lot of different pieces to that. So let's talk for a moment about training skills. By the way, everybody thinks they know how to train. Everyone thinks that they are good at training right out of the gate. And I'm going to say this to you, training is a learned skill. I wasn't really good at it. I was a good teacher that's where I started, was in teaching. And I was good with those kids. I wasn't a trainer, and it's different. So there's actually 9 components to being a great trainer. First one is you got to have rapport with your audience. And how do you get rapport? Anybody have thoughts? Put it in the box there. What makes people build rapport with other people? How does it happen? How do you connect with people? By being real, by being authentic, trustworthy. Boy, that's an interesting thing. Thank you for that, Bridget. Let them talk. Let them be involved, just like you're doing right now. That's right. Being honest with people. Another great way to build rapport. Rapport doesn't happen automatically. Rapport happens when you connect with people. So if I was sitting here and looking out my window or writing down things or doing other things, I would automatically break rapport with all of you. So on a video like this, you got to look into the camera, as hard as it is, because there's nobody looking back at you. But still, that's a great way to build rapport. Connect. Be more like them. Know your audience when you're training. Know who's out there and understand them. See, we do a lot of live training for conventions and conferences and all kinds of events and regionals and so on. And we always ask about the people before we go there. We always get there early to connect with and meet people before it happens. A company recently just asked me to come in and as an observer into a meeting that they were holding. And I went and they said, will you take notes and let us know what you think? Well, when I walked in the room, there was no greeter. There was nobody there to say welcome. There was no name tag that said I'm a guest, so everybody would know to be nice to me. No, everybody would know to say welcome. Those are all things that are important in establishing rapport. That speaker would have had much better rapport with me if they would have showed up out there and talked to me in advance and got to know a little bit about my behavioral style and so on. I just froze for a moment. Am I unfrozen or am I still frozen? I know people have those little facelifts and things and their face sort of sticks in one way. I hope that's not happening. I hope you can hear me. Anyway, so let me know. Type into the box if I'm still frozen. I've never had a facelift, by the way. So rapport. Voice is important. Oh, I'm back. I'm so glad. Voice is important in training skills. If I talk this fast the whole time and I'm going 90 miles an hour, I'm going to lose half of the audience. Or if I talk like this. So you've got to have variance in your voice. Faster, slower, louder, softer. Break up the pattern of your speaking so that people can stay with you. They find you interesting when your voice is not stuck or frozen. Stories are important. Stories are a key skill in training. Stories tell. People remember stories. People come up to me at events and say, remember that story when you talked about this or that? You know, they remember that because stories are a way of engaging people and letting them know that you're for real. So those training skills are important. By the way, this workbook, the ebook that comes with this training on training skills is, I don't know how many pages, but it's a big book. But we talk about color and how to use a flip chart and, you know, how to facilitate along with your training and all those things. So there's a lot in this module. Engagement. Engagement is a key factor because if your audience isn't engaged, they aren't hearing you. They aren't listening to you. They aren't following you. They're not with you. So engagement means you ask questions. Remember in your training, here's a little statistic. It's really about coaching, but if all you do is train and you had all 9 elements that we mentioned in the workbook that you get with this training, those 9 elements, the whole piece is important on how to engage people and to use all of those elements to engage them with, and that stories are engaging, color is engaging, sound is engaging, music is engaging. There's a lot of things to engage people. Compelling content is a must. If you're training things that doesn't have any content value for the people, they aren't compelled to do something with it, they're missing out. You don't want that to happen for you or for your folks that you're training. So the content, they must be compelled to do something with it. That's why you always have a call to action at the end of your trainings. And this is on the phone, this is on, you know, in person. There's a lot of ways to do this. Zoom is very popular right now. By the way, through DSWA, $9.95 a month is a good deal. And there's training in there that tells you everything about how to use this. So make sure that you get in there and look over that. It's in the member benefits. You can learn more. But Zoom is a great tool. You know, I just had an event canceled today, and we're going to do it through Zoom, but it canceled because of what's going on right now with the virus and health and things like that. So Zoom is going to pick up big time for a lot of companies because they're a little concerned about bringing their people together. So what I'm going to say to all of you is learn how to use this tool, because it's really simple for engagement. Now, I don't have everybody's pictures out here this time, and that with a smaller group, you can do that, but you've got to teach, again, training skills. You've got to teach people etiquette for Zoom. Like they're not, you know, they need to wear clothes. I only had that one time, but that was too many times for me. So you teach them, make sure that you know we can see you. So put on some clothes and look presentable. So all of that is about training. So I hope that was helpful to you to get a little bit of what you're going to learn within that module. Visionary planning. I love this. We used to call it strategic planning, and people flipped out because I'm not strategic. They're thinking I'm a people person, not a paper person, so strategy is not for me. So that we moved the name to visionary planning, and everybody went, wow, I'm a visionary. This is great. So visionary planning is really about how to have a vision and a plan to implement that vision. And I want to show you this little this thought: a vision without a plan is just a dream. And there are lots of people that have a vision, they just don't have a plan to do anything with it. It's like having a New Year's resolution and you can't remember where you put it or what it was the next day. So a vision without a plan is just a dream. A lot of people dream big. They dream of having a great business. They dream of creating, you know, a lifestyle for their family, but you can't do anything with the dream if there's no implementation. So that little saying is a very powerful one. Now, this is something now get your paper out or take a picture of this if you want to. This is for your use, but I want you to understand this cycle of visionary planning. I thought everybody did this, so I never taught it. And then when I would just talk about it, people would say, holy smokes, I never thought of it like that. Why don't you teach that? So I created this little cycle here that you can look at and see. So everything starts with imagination. And we've done training just on how to use your imagination, how to bring your imagination to life, how to play and go into play states. We've done workshops on those things because if you can't imagine, it shall never be. If you can't imagine what it would be like to have a great big house, if you can't imagine what it would be like to drive a brand new car, if you can't imagine what it would be like to earn the incentive trip that your company is offering you right now, if you cannot imagine, it will never be. So slow down in life so you can speed up. Slow down, just close your eyes and imagine what it would be like to be at the top of your company. Imagine what it would be like to have a new possibility, more opportunities for your family, because you must start with imagine. After you imagine is dream. And here's the thing about dreaming. Dreaming, you can see yourself in there and you know it's possible. So it's okay to dream, but it's just not starting there because you might not be dreaming about exactly what you're wanting and what you're looking towards, what you're moving towards. So dream is after imagine. Take the time to dream. You know, we're told when we were kids, oh, daydreaming. Don't be daydreaming. You know, that's a waste of time. And now there's a lot of research. Go do your own on the internet. There's a lot of research on how important it is to daydream. And most of the geniuses in our lives have all done great daydreaming. So be that person who dreams and dream big. Dream beyond what you think is possible. Notice I have celebrated in there multiple times. By the way, somebody just asked, was there a workbook? Not with this promotional call, just to give you an overview. There are books that come with every single module in the Elite course, and we're going to have a special offer at the end of this call today, so you don't want to miss that because we have a promo code for you to get a discount on the course. And right now is the best time, especially if you're not going to a lot of live events because you have concerns. This would be a great time to get into the Elite course, and you work it at your own pace. So notice we have celebration in there. Celebrate is important. Without celebration, you're just working all the time. You know, there's no joy in the journey. Stop, celebrate, do things to celebrate, find ways to celebrate. Be the person who celebrates more. And I'm not saying you have to jump up with your pom-poms and run around the house like a wild person. I'm saying find a little thing to celebrate that brings you joy. It might be going for a walk without going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, you know, count down and how many steps you're getting in. Is just doing it because you love it. I have a celebration. My mom had a symbol for each one of us kids, and I had a big family, and mine was the butterfly. And she said, Nicki, you're like the butterfly. You flit everywhere, and everywhere you go, you bring happiness to people. And I just felt so honored that she chose that for me. And then I started to think about that. So when I am wanting to celebrate, I live in Hawaii, and it's a beautiful day today. And I go outside and I look for butterflies because that's my way of celebrating. I'm celebrating with my mom, which is a really fun thing to do. So what is your celebration? Is it to just sit down and have a cup of tea? Is it to go, you know, and just meditate for a little while? Is it to, you know, have a tall glass of ice water? I don't know what it is for you, but taking time to notice your baby wins, the baby accomplishments. If you're not doing that, trust me on this, it's a lot of work to do what you're doing. And there's not much joy in the journey. And if your family never sees you celebrating, all they see you doing is working, they're thinking it's not very fun for you. I don't think you want that. So now we go to vision. And I'm going to tell you what, people think you're supposed to start with goal setting. Goal setting is after you have a vision. Otherwise, your goals might not be taking you where you really want to go. So the vision is clarity, purpose, knowing and seeing the picture of what this is going to look like, how it's going to taste, how it's going to sound, who's going to be there with you, what are you going to be wearing. Bring all those visual words into your vision, not just the audio. Bring visual words with sound and to see the color. That's an important facet here. Now, that next step, engage and cast the vision out to others. We've got to engage our family in our vision. We must engage our team in the vision. It can't just be your vision. They've got to be a part of that. You know, people say, well, our vision for this year for our organization is to do $900,000 in sales. Okay, well, who's doing it? You? If you don't know what the rest of the team is willing to commit to, how can you set that as a vision? So we want to involve the team and also the family, because if our family's not engaged, they're not working with you. Sometimes they're working against you. Mommy and Daddy, you have to go out again tonight. Versus, will you get out the door? We want to go to Disneyland for our holiday this year. So it's an interesting thing. I just have to tell this story here. I don't get to tell it very often, but it's a beautiful story. When we first started DSWA, we moved back to Hawaii and we moved into a 2-bedroom condo. And there were like 8 of us living in this 2-bedroom condo when we were running this company. And we talked to our children, our grandchildren, about what was their vision when we were successful in this business. First of all, what would success look like? And then what would be a win for all of us? And so we set a target of how many members we would have, and we had a little thermometer on the wall, and that little thermometer on the wall, they got to color in with the little red pen at the end of the day. And sometimes there was no coloring because there was not one member, and sometimes there was one, sometimes there were many, but they got to color that in. And this big old thermometer took us 4 years to get to the end of the top of that thermometer. And what they wanted to do was to go to Disneyland. And we planned that Disneyland trip for 4 years. We got videos, and that's what it was in those days, was videotapes about Disneyland, from Disneyland. We went to the thrift shop and got Mickey Mouse ears for everybody. We had posters on the wall in the office of Disneyland. And they knew when we went to work, we were working for all of us. What's in it for them to go to Disneyland? So we all walk into Disneyland and we're holding on to hands, and they were looking out at all the beauty around us. And I can remember each one individually in their own way said, Mimi, we did it. We did it. That meant they were a part of making it happen. They were engaged. And I'm going to tell you, that was one of the most joyful moments in my life, was what was happening on that particular day. And someday I'll tell you the rest of the story, because it even gets better. It was just such a fun day. So we did stay at the Motel 8 for 8 of us in one room, but that was okay. That we got to go. And my husband is the king of the saucers. I was surprised he didn't get sick. But anyway, so that's engaging, and then keep casting the vision out. As we did, we were casting that vision. So what are we going to do when we get to Disneyland? What's your favorite ride at Disneyland? You know, which should we go to first? Which area of Disneyland should we go to first? That was cast to them constantly. How do you keep young children on target for 4 years? You've got to keep it in front of them. So it's a real thing, folks. It's a real thing. Now, from engaging and casting your vision, you move over to goals. Now we set the goals because we know where we're going. So we set the goals to go and to do, of whatever that may be, and very clear. We teach about SMART goals, and it's a little different than the normal SMART goal way within this module. But I'll tell you what, you'll get good at your goal setting, because there are a lot of people that are goal sitters, S-I-T-T-E-R-S, a goal sitter who sits on their goals. We have our goal setters who set on the goals, or set them, and then we have our goal getters who actually get their goals. Which one are you? Do you want to be a goal sitter or a goal getter? That's what will make the difference. So again, you celebrate all throughout the journey. Take time to enjoy the journey. At the end of each day, what am I most proud of today? These are self-coaching questions. That's another thing that you'll learn about. But what am I most proud of for today? Whose life did I make a difference in today? What was my greatest accomplishment today? By the way, you're going to get this recording for you after. It'll come to you if you showed up on this, registered for this. So you'll be able to listen to this again and again, which will support you with getting this information down. So, goals, celebrating. Now it's time to set the plan and the timeline. What am I going to do? When am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? Who else has responsibility in this? How are others going to participate? And then, of course, you've got to track the information. If you're not tracking it, how will you know when you hit it or when you're close or when you're too far away? It's like people that say we're going to have a $900,000 organization this year, and you come down to the last month and you go, oh, we're at 100. I wonder what happened. No, we got to track it all along the way. So this is how you live your dream. This is how you create your new reality. What did you get from this? I'm curious. Input or thoughts so far. What came up for you? Anybody? Type into the chat box. What was your takeaway from anything we've covered so far? We've done training, we've done creating community, visionary planning, team building. Type into the box. Love, goal sitter, and goal getter. Thanks. That's good verbiage. I thank you for that. Celebrate along the way. Oh gosh, when you get good at celebration, watch what happens. It's an amazing thing that people around you are having more fun with you. If you put your thoughts into action, we will have results. Yeah, just thinking about it isn't enough. And by the way, your thoughts are the most important thing you have, and your most current thought is the most important thought, because thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to action or inaction, action or inaction leads to results or no results. So here she says, be a goal-getter. And Jean said, this chart clarifies the how. Well, I'm so glad, because see, lots of people tell you what you need to do, but they don't tell you how to do it. So we don't know how to do it. So and it's you deciding to do something with it. That's another big factor here. So I just want to make sure that you all are aware. So I'm going to invest a little more time with principle-centered coaching than I have than on the other subjects. And the reason I'm doing this is because this is the mainstay. It is a main key for us in what we teach in our business. And every topic that we teach has coaching somehow tied to it, because it is the most important skill I think you can learn in the business. So here, to engage, knowing that when we go to work, it is all of us. Oh, that is so true. Engaging your family. Thank you. That was a good point there. So what is coaching? Coaching in 16th century England was all about having a valued person, taking valued people from where they were to where they wanted to go. Taking valued people from where they were to where they wanted to go. And that was in a coach. Well, it's the same thing today with what true coaching is. It's not where we think they have potential to go. It's where they choose to go, what they choose to accomplish. See, in coaching, it's their agenda, not yours. And in coaching, we must let go of the outcome. It's their outcome. And boy, what a release that is for anybody in leadership in this business. Because if you're the one holding on to the outcome for everybody else, if that person goes away or drops off or doesn't do anything, we also own the responsibility with it, and we don't want that. So coaching is about today going forward. Coaching is not about the past. Coaching is about today going forward. Coaching is about asking, not telling. The focus is on the person being coached. What coaching is not, it is not therapy. It is not counseling. Those things are about the past. It is not cheerleading. Your job is not to get the pom-poms out and good job, good job, good job, because it's temporary and it doesn't stay long term. So coaching isn't mentoring either, and mentoring is a good thing. All these things have their place. Just don't confuse them. Where the biggest confusion is at what is coaching, people think it is the same as training, and it isn't. Here's a really good chart of the differences. So as a trainer, read them out loud with me, because I really want you to get this. As a trainer, we are teaching. As a coach, we support others to learn. As a trainer, we provide the answers. As a coach, we help others to find their own answers. As a trainer, we have a teacher-student interaction. And as a coach, it's a partnership interaction. And again, as a trainer, the focus is on the trainer's agenda. It's our agenda. This was my agenda today. I'm working to make it part of your agenda too by having you write into that little box. And as a coach, the focus is on the team member's agenda. As the trainer, the expertise is with the trainer. I'm the expert. I have all the answers. As a coach, the expertise is with the team member. It is not with you. You don't have to be the expert. Isn't that a beautiful thing? You don't have to know. So we're going to quickly go over some of these coaching skills. Now, I don't want you to think you know how to coach because we've invested 15 minutes on coaching. Coaching is a skill that takes time, and that's why it is woven throughout the whole elite course. Coaching happens every month in a group coaching call, but it also is the way we teach through our training is using coaching skills. Because remember, when you are training only and you have all those beautiful components that we talked about, average retention and application of what you've said is 22%. When you combine coaching skills with training skills, in any training that you're doing, average retention and application is 88%. Who's the mathematician in the group? Can type into the box. What percentage difference is that? 22 to 88 is 66% difference. So wouldn't you like to have a much higher level of results for your team? Beautiful thing when you can do that. Skill number 1 is empowering questions. These are empowering and powerful questions. They're questions that usually begin with who, what, when, where, how. Could someone type that into the box? The 5 questions that they begin with are who, what, when, where, how. After you go into a level 2 class or beyond that, you learn contrast, distinctions, other types of questions. But in the beginning, we start you with these types of questions because we want this to be simple. We only have 5 skills and 5 principles that we live by in coaching, and we're right there now. I think I just froze again. So, skill 1. I want to go back just a minute on those powerful questions. What would be a good question to ask right now? Who do you know that could support you with that? So let's say someone was not doing the someone was not doing recruiting, like we talked about earlier. They're not sponsoring anybody. So if they're not sponsoring, examples may be, you know, what if anything is holding you back from sponsoring? Who have you not asked yet? Who could benefit from this business? What have you learned from being a part of this company? I mean, those are just some brief questions. Now, skill 2, heart-centered listening, and what makes this so important. If you're not listening, you don't know what question to ask. So asking those excellent questions that make people feel that you're present, 100% present, and that they are being heard. Have you ever been with somebody that acts like they're listening? We call it pretend listening. There's all levels of listening. There's about 9 levels of listening too, but pretend is like really bad. Or I'm not listening, that's even worse, ignoring. Listening and then trying to move it into an autobiographical response about you. I mean, there's all different ways people listen. I'm just telling you, practice being in your heart. When you have heart-centered listening, you are hearing the words, but you understand the meaning behind the words. That's the important piece. Skill number 3 is compassionate feedback. This is a skill that's not always used. You use it as needed. I love this skill. If there are some of you out there that are really phobic about having conflict, this skill will massively impact your life. And you'll learn more about this in this module in the elite course. But it's when it's a last resort. It's when the other person can't see something. They have a blind spot. They really can't see what's going on. And you've coached and coached and coached, and it's not working. They just aren't getting it. So there's skills that you have to know about giving compassionate feedback. And the first one is ask permission. And it doesn't sound like this. Honey, you have issues. May I give you some really good compassionate feedback? It's not like that. You know, can I ask you, may I ask you a question about that? Or may I share something that I've noticed recently that I've observed? Not the whole wide world, I have observed. So you ask permission in a way that you, if the person says no, don't do it. But I've never had anybody say no, because compassionate feedback is given from a place of service. So if you are a person who has a hard time with this, I want you to know that you probably are one of those people that keeps a lot of things bottled up, and then you blow a gasket. And then you've been upset for a long time, and they don't understand why this little thing tipped you over the edge. So get good at giving compassionate feedback. And I don't wait. I do it because I didn't for some years. And one time when I did, when I finally learned this skill and I did, the person said, why did you wait so long to tell me that if this was really bothering you? I said, because I didn't have the skills. And I was afraid you would get mad. She was like, why would I be mad with the way you did it? So it taught me, I do it consistently. Compassionate feedback is a last resort. You've coached all around it first. And then if they can't see it, you would share it. So somebody that's always late to the meeting, Sally, you know, may I share something with you that I've noticed at the last 3 meetings? Well, yeah. I noticed that you're coming into the meetings late, and that when you come in, you let everybody know you're there. So what do you think that does to the people that were there on time? So I go back to coaching, see if they got it. And I would also ask for the agreed action and accountability. So what will you do differently next time? You know, how will you handle it so that you won't be late? What are your other options? So I go right back to coaching after the feedback. Comments or thoughts on any of these skills so far? What was skill number 1? I want to see who's listening. Type it into the box. Skill number 1 was, and somebody else can type in what skill number 2 was. And I'm going to change this so you can't see what skill number 3 was. Type it into the box. Empowering and powerful questions. Yay. That was so good. And who, what, when, where, how questions. Very excellent. Heart-centered listening. Wow, we've got some sharp people here. Thank you, Michelle. And Blanca, empowering at powerful questions and compassionate feedback. You got skill number 3. Wow, you're on it. What a great group. I'm so glad. Now, skill number 4. Don't these people look like they're in action? If you do not go to skill number 4, agreed action and accountability, you just had a conversation and nothing happened. So if you're someone that has a lot of conversations with no results, this is a skill that you really would want to work on. Now, if you're that very direct, decisive person who wants to get people into action out of the gate, you don't start here. You got to understand why they weren't in action before you can move them to action. So this is near the end of the conversation, or after a breakthrough. Once they have the breakthrough and they know what to do. Because I want to throw this out here too. Coaching isn't just when someone has a challenge. Coaching is when someone is goaling or stretch goal, when they're stuck, they haven't advanced for a long time, when they have lost their vision or their clarity. A lot of reasons to be coached, not just when there's a challenge. Okay, the reason people can't see any of the questions on the chat is because people are typing it to just the panelists. You want to type it to the panelists and the attendees so everybody else can see them too. That would be very helpful. Don't just send it to the panelists. It's a drop-down menu on the 2. So, oh God, we're learning all about Zoom. This is good. All right, so agreed action and accountability is when someone agrees to take action and to be accountable for themselves. People say, oh, we do this coaching thing. I'm the accountability partner for at least 10 people. Well, first of all, accountability partner doesn't make you a coach. It's being accountable. I would prefer to see that called an empowerment partner versus an accountability partner. We empower each other, but the agreed action is the person says what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, how they're going to do it, and if anything might get in the way, what would that be? And how am I going to know how that went? How will I get to celebrate with you? And they'll say, oh, I could text you, or I could call you, or we could talk about it on our next call, or I could send you an email. I don't know what it is, but celebrate with them. Teach people to celebrate. So that will be another very helpful thing. So skill 4, agreed action and accountability. The final skill is called ICU Acknowledgement. And it isn't just cheering for people. It's seeing inside of people. I see who you are being, the qualities that you're made of. Give me a quality that if somebody said, wow, you are this, that would just make you feel wonderful, or that you give to other people. Maggie, I'm so glad that you're here. Good. I'm Maggie's all the way from Australia. Thank you for joining us today. So what are those qualities? Type it into the box and type it so everybody can see it, which is not just to the panelists. Make sure that you put, I know you New Zealand lady, thank you. Type to the end attendees also. So what if you ask them how they will do things differently, but they don't really know where to start? Do you give them ideas if they want it? That was a good question, Stephanie. No, we don't. We don't really want to give them ideas. So when somebody says, well, I don't know what to do. You thought about it a little bit more and you did know, what would be the first thing? Or if you had nothing to be afraid of with just starting, where would you start? You start giving them suggestions, they never have to think for themselves. It's like the child that says, I can't find my socks. And you say, well, did you look? You're asking a question. Did you look in the drawer? Did you look under the bed? Did you look in the hamper? You're teaching them to lean on you. We have a massive codependency situation in our profession. And the codependency comes from people giving everybody the answers. We've got to stop that. We let people think for themselves. So type in some words that are good words of acknowledgement. So in the box, you're enthusiastic, creative, generous, kind, respectful, honest. Think of those words. Thoughtful. There's hundreds and hundreds of words. Oh, caring. That's a great one, Kay. Thank you. So those are all words that make somebody say, you see who I am. Courageous, brave. You know, my mother was complimenting. It's beyond a compliment, folks. It is beyond a compliment. A compliment is what you see on the outside. You see it, doing or seeing it. An acknowledgement is who you are being. It's an internal thing. That's why it goes so much further. By the way, compliments are important. I think it's good to have compliments. I am going to say this. Oh, awesome. So we're putting them in the Q&A. That's okay. There we go. I see what's going on here now. So it is a great thing for us to know that we have opportunities to share with people beyond what we see. So if we always have an award that goes, oh, it's to set people at ease. That's a good point. Thank you, Kay. It is a, what it does is others feel they can be that. So in other words, if you only award top in sales and top in recruiting, what happens is people can't ever see themselves up there. But if somebody was top in sales and said, because you are courageous, you know, I know this week you made 10 phone calls to people you didn't even know. And you picked up that phone and made those calls. And that took courage. And as a result, you had the sales. So you tie it all together. When you recognize people at your meetings, this is another training tip, you bring them to the front of the room and look in their eyes. Turn them toward you and look at them as you say these words of acknowledgement, and watch what happens. People cry in the audience too. They can feel it. It feels different. So be that person who acknowledges others beyond the doing to the being. And you can practice this anywhere. Pick your line at the grocery store that you go into the market And I always tell the person, I chose this line because I saw how kind you were to every person that came through your line. I saw your attention to detail. I saw that you smiled and you made people feel valued. So I chose this line. And they don't know what to do with that because all they hear is, you charged me $1.02 and the sign said $1.01. So, we don't need that. That's all they get is negative. Oh, here's another good word. Persevering. You are persevering. You have tenacity. Oh, there's so many words. In your workbook that comes with the Elite course, there are hundreds of these words that you can choose from. Just pick some, choose them, and start saying those things to people, especially the people you love the most. We forget to acknowledge the people we love the most, which is sad. So we have covered a lot in a short period of time. Before I go to our special deal, who has questions, comments, or thoughts? I'm going to open up. So your aha is whatever for you was jumped out at you. And your takeaway light bulb moment, your wow is what are you going to implement within 1 week? So if you could please type that in the box. I see, Leslie, you have your hand up. I don't know if you wanted me to call on you for something, but I could do that. Or if there's anybody else, I don't know how to make this. Oh, how to make it go away? Okay, that's all right. I'll ignore you then. You don't know how to make it open it up to the group. See where down below you see where there's a little, if you're using not the Q&A, you're using the chat box, then just where it says that little blue thing at the bottom that says tool, click that down arrow and it'll tell you to go to others also. So anybody else have thoughts, comments, your aha, your wow, your takeaway from this? If there's also anybody that would like to share anything, I think I can open up your voice. So let me know if you'd like to share anything. Listen and asking questions. Stop trying to figure things out for them. Oh, Pam, that is huge. I am so happy for you that you took that away. Because see, when we give them the answers, if they try it and it doesn't work, they have somebody to blame, and it's us. And I don't think any of us would want to be there. Lisa, thank you. Insightful. Agreed action and accountability will be huge for most of us. I like to acknowledge others, yet I'm not always community-minded. So that is my focus this week and beyond. Very good, Jean, that you're going to really move over to working on the community. In the workbook that comes with that module, there's very specific things with how to do it on telephone calls, how to get that sense of community at your meetings, in your newsletters, how you communicate, all the rest of it. Lots of detail that will support you with that. Setting a plan and a timeline. Excellent. I'm very thankful for this training. I appreciate that, Desiree.